This will not be my campaign. This will be our campaign all together.
Former President Donald Trump has announced his plan to run in the 2024 presidential election after spending months on the midterm campaign trail endorsing a host of Republican candidates.
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit, and if they lose, I should not be blamed at all.
While Trump remains a clear leader in the Republican Party, his appeal has changed since he ran in 2016 and 2020.
There's sort of fatigue among some Republicans over Donald Trump and his antics and what he's left the party with.
So what has changed since his first two presidential campaigns? And how could those changes impact his political power and influence in the 2024 presidential election? Several of the Republican midterm candidates that Trump endorsed and campaigned with were expected to be a part of a so-called red wave that would carry the party to complete control of Congress.
Just 3 days from now, the people of Pennsylvania are going to elect Dr. Mehmet Oz to the United States Senate.
But the outcome of the midterms was weaker than expected for the GOP. Republicans are poised to flip control of the House, but several Trump-backed candidates in pivotal Senate races struggled, and the party was unable to flip control of the Senate. Candidates who embraced Trump's unfounded election fraud claims performed particularly poorly in the midterms. Blake Masters, who lost in Arizona to the Democratic incumbent Mark Kelly, aligned himself with Trump, supporting national abortion restrictions and claims of 2020 election fraud. He lost independent voters by more than 30 percentage points, according to AP Votecast. That and similar situations with other Trump-backed candidates like Tudor Dixon and Doug Mastriano called into question the power of a Trump endorsement and whether his brand has turned away some independent voters.
There are people who normally would not talk on the record, talking on the record to reporters and elsewhere about Donald Trump needs to move on, it's time for someone else.
But one Trump-backed candidate did perform well among voters.
We've accomplished more than anybody thought possible 4 years ago, but we've got so much more to do, and I have only begun to fight.
Ron DeSantis' midterm election victory was so huge that it has sort of rewritten how Republicans are looking at the presidential race. Suddenly, it's not just Donald Trump's nomination to lose.
DeSantis has not announced a presidential bid, but Trump has already started attacking the Florida governor.
It's Trump at 71, Ron DeSanctimonious at 10%.
DeSantis' victory comes after some Republicans have openly called for the party to move past the former president and look for a new leader.
It's basically the third election in a row that Donald Trump has cost us the race, and it's like, 3 strikes, you're out.
There is a growing sense of Republicans identifying more as members of the GOP versus supporters of Donald Trump.
Following the midterm elections, some Republicans have said that Trump's influence and endorsement choices have cost the party winnable races.
Those who are most closely aligned with the former president underperformed. Those who are talking about the future, who have managed their states well, they overperformed.
Other potential challengers for the Republican nomination include Trump's 2016 running mate, former Vice President Mike Pence, who parted ways with Trump following the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
One thing will be really interesting to watch is how not just voters, but the donors, the big money people, and who they put their money behind. A lot of them do want to see someone else.
Trump has a proven track record when it comes to online and grassroots fundraising, even after leaving the Oval Office. Earlier this year, a Federal Election Commission filing showed that Trump had more than $120 million in cash across his post-presidential political operation. But with the presence of other potential frontrunners in the presidential race, like Ron DeSantis, it remains to be seen where donors will invest their money.
They are looking to someone else that can kind of bring the party a little bit back to where it had been, more traditional kind of conservatism.
Trump also moves forward amid a host of legal issues, including civil and criminal investigations into his company Trump Organization, the January 6 probe, and a federal investigation into mishandled classified White House records. Trump still remains popular with right-leaning voters and allies within the party. But he now faces new challenges that could influence his candidacy ahead of the presidential election.
He still is the number one loved figure in the party among the voters, the base there. Now, there are cracks in that, but Donald Trump is still a very, very strong and powerful force in the party, and that should not be overlooked, even as there are some cracks and rising stars like Ron DeSantis.